Papa, you're loud.
Sierra, final check. No response needed. Mike 7, Charlie Sierra, commencing the Wales Ragchew Net. I'm also going to sort some volumes out, so yeah, that's a yeses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to log mode, and we're going to see if anybody would like to join in with the Wales Ragchew Net. We've got a couple of pre-check-ins there, so we've got M0TTF is normally listening, and M7EMH. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call for check-in number 4. So if you'd like to be number 4 into the Wales Ragchew Net, go name and location.
Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa, Michael 11 in Tennessee, United States of America, ready for the way.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra, thanks very much there, Michael, got you in the log. So, if you'd like to be number 5 into the Wales Ragchew Net, go ahead with your call sign, name and location.
Right, use that, Robin Cambridge.
Okay, I had G0EUZ, and there's my typo. So I'll correct that, 0EUZ. And that should come up with Rob. And yep, it has. And we had Steve, so GW5VOG. Still under 2W0VOG, I see there. So if you'd like to be number 7 into the Wales Ragchew Net, go ahead with your call sign, name and location. Okay, nothing heard. Well, I wasn't expecting the numbers that we had last week, and of course, yeah, we know what the top of the list is. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to do some little checks while I'm talking here. Yeah, radios are going out, so it's always good to see the level, isn't it? So, you've got that sorted. So, what we'll do is we go round to Michael, Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Thanks, Chris. This is Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa, coming from Lebanon, Tennessee, United States of America, where it's about 20 degrees Celsius. We're having a warm day here. It's kind of cloudy and overcast, and we're expecting more rain this evening. This is going to be our Super Bowl weekend. The NFL, the National Football League, will be playing their Super Bowl tomorrow evening. And we'll all be watching, primarily not necessarily for the two teams they're watching, but we'll also be watching for the Super Bowl commercials, which cost about $8 million per 30-minute segment. I'm sorry, 30-second segment. $8 million for every 30-second commercial. And with that, I'll turn it back to you because we have the usual suspects. Good to see you out there, Stephen and Rod. Hope everything's going well your way. Turn it back to you, Chris. Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra. So I'm doing something different, and you'll see on the live stream that I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm not sure how the audio is going to be, but of course I've turned the mic gain up since I was told I sounded like a YL. So yeah, it should be a little bit better. I'm coming via cqnorthwest, although it's yeah, giving my call sign on all dashboards, I believe. Yeah, I'm checking that. So I'll put it round to Rod G0EUZ. Audio reports, welcome.
G0EUZ to the group. Good evening, everybody. Nice to catch you, and I can't believe another week's gone. Well, your audio, Chris, is not good. It's not as good as normal. Turning it down has not made any difference at all. So, yeah, that's one to think on. Not done a lot this week. I did some FT8 this morning, or this afternoon. I did very little in the morning, apart from walk the dog. So yeah, not been very busy at all. Back to you, Chris M7CCS G0 user.
Yeah, Mike 7 Charlie Sierra. Well, that audio wasn't all that good, so we'll see what this one's like. Yeah, it's okay there, Rod, and sorry on the audio report. So I'm using something different now. So we're saying number 2. Yeah, if you tell me what number 2 sounds like, and number 1, tell me which one is better. So we'll go round to Steve, GW5VOG, still identifying as 2W0VOG.
GW5VOG returning. Thank you, Chris. Good evening to Michael, and good evening to Rod. Sutty's listening, and somebody else who I didn't catch. And your dashboards on the live stream is a bit different to normal. So you must be using a different system there. Okay, number 1 audio, you didn't sound like a YL. Don't forget President Trump's declared there's only male and female sexes now, and so you can't transgender. And you sounded more like a young man whose voice was breaking occasionally, or the other way around, a young man whose voice is broken but occasionally goes back to, so it was just sort of the end of sentences were going high pitch, that kind of thing. But number 2, perfect, I would say, perfect. Yeah, so one bit of news, we were talking about, I was asking you whether you were going to Blackpool now, definitely this year. And said that I was wanting to go. Well, I've actually booked a hotel room now on the Saturday night, so I shall be there, and I'll meet you in the flesh, as it were. And I look forward to that. No doubt you'll be at the lifeboat station to start, so perhaps I'll pop in there and see you. Anyway, with that, we don't want to time out. I'm sure my audio wasn't as good as the others. It might be longer, but it's not quite as good. Anyway, so back to you, M7CCS from GW5VOG.
Yeah, Mike 7 Charlie Sierra, thanks very much. Yeah, still didn't find out if audio 2 was preferred, but it's all good there. I'm looking at it as it's coming back through. It is going up in just a little bit into the yellow on my streaming software. But what I'm going to do, because we're going around the list again, we started on time and we didn't have a pile up at the beginning. We're going to see if anybody else would like to check in. So if you'd like to check in to the Wales Ragchew Net, go ahead with your call sign, name and location. Okay, I left that all very quiet there. I know I'm going out the cqnorthwest side. Yeah, I'm going out to our side as well. I'll put it back up to Michael, Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Thank you, Chris. Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa here. Your audio sounded fine to me. You did have one earlier when you were doing your testing with about half your audio, and what I'm getting so far has been pretty good. I do have I can't remember what, it was Steven or Rod right at the end. I think it was Steven that had kind of a squawk to the end of his transmission, but other than that, everything sounds fine. The new graphic looks pretty darn good. Looks like a much younger version of myself up there, but I don't mind that in the least. So, like I said, we're enjoying a nice weekend. I just sent you some food porn if you want to display it or look at it anyway, and we'll talk about it later on. Like I say, it's been a nice day, and we're looking forward to the net. Hoping more people join us. Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa, back.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra, all good. So, I'll reveal it. So, yeah, the new graphic, as you call it, you see that I don't come up with a picture. It's not been updated yet. But that is a Spanish version of the program Peanut. So, yeah, if I actually drop the Null Brick logo, you'll see that I'm connected into cqnorthwest. I'm not using that interface at the moment. The volume's muted on that. I'm using an iPhone at the moment. Testing an app is not yet available. So, yeah, I know that the audio on the iPhone did sound a little bit better when I was doing some testing in the week with City on his net. So, of course, yeah, I think it's audio number 2 is probably better, and audio number 1 is just for the platform only. So, we'll go round to G0, EUZ.
G0, EUZ, back to the group. Yeah, definitely number 2, Chris, was pretty damn good. No problem with that at all. I've not got the last year running yet. I'd only just sat down and finished my evening meal. Barbecue ribs again, by way of a change. The only difference was there was sweet barbecue this time and not smoky barbecue. But yeah, all good. And yeah, good lady had a steak, a grilled steak, and tomatoes and fries. So yes, it was very nice. Enjoyed it. But yeah, okay, Steve, I'm going to Blackpool. That's a good move. I'm definitely not going, although I would like to. I've got a wedding coming up on 22nd of this month in Leeds, so I'm going halfway up there. I'm going up there, which is halfway to Blackpool, I suppose, approximately. We'll see how we'll cope with that as a journey. I'm not looking forward to the journey. Well, we've got to be an Airbnb for 2 nights, the Friday and then the Saturday after, and come back home on the Sunday. So that should be good fun. We're taking the dog with us. How he can cope with a long journey? He has done relatively long journeys, so he'd probably be all right. And he's not used to being left at home, or left anywhere, to be honest. Whereas my daughter's dog is going to somebody they know, so he'll be all right there. So, evening to Dutty, by the way. M7 G0, M7CCS G0, using it.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra. Well, yeah, audio 2 is hands-free. Once I've pressed the button, yeah, I'll just chat. I can chat for about 3 minutes, but I don't think our system, well, our system might work, actually. Yeah, it might go, so it might be worth trying to see if I can time it out using this as well. But of course, yeah, thanks for the audio report there. And of course, yeah, I've got to say evening from City. Although the message has just come up in front of me because that's what I'm talking to at the minute. So, yeah, I'll see if I can do anything else funky. So, is it going to work for me? Oh, there we go. So, here I am. I'm talking. I can't show the app. I'm not allowed. But I'm talking into my iPhone. That's what I'm doing. And yeah, basically what I'm doing, I'm just talking into it down here. Yeah, working pretty well if you are watching the live stream and you got to see the shack again. We go to GW5VOG and then we call and see if anybody would like to check in.
GW5VOG returning, thank you, Chris. Okay, I think I got the name of the other person who's on, which is Daryl, I think, listening. Next week, I possibly won't be on. It's very unlikely. I've got to go to London. I'm going on Friday morning. I'm coming back, leaving London about 2, 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. So depends what the traffic's like and how exhausted I am. I might not make it next Saturday, unfortunately. But I'll do my best. You never know how long it takes to get through the tunnel. You lot will know what I mean by that. Yeah, so I was saying about Blackpool, at the moment I'm going in my car, so I'll be driving up there. I did want to go on the train, trying to be green and all that, and then my wife would have the car here while I'm away, because we've only got one car now, and because I'm travelling back on Sunday, it's kind of impossible. I can get a really cheap ticket going up on Saturday, then I can get a fairly cheap ticket back to Manchester, but I can't. I'd have to stay the night in Manchester to get another cheap ticket from Manchester to Cardiff, and there'd be a lot hanging around and that sort of thing. I've got some relatives in Manchester, but I could go and stay with them, go and see them, but it's a bit of a trek then, trying to getting from to and from the train station to get to where they live. They don't live in the centre of Manchester, they live in Stockport, so we'll see anyway, but most likely I'm going in the car. So with that, before I time out and test the timeout thing, back to you, Chris M7CCS from GW5VOG.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra. I actually forgot it was going out live then. I'm moving things around on the live stream, but it is all good. But yeah, we'll go back to log mode and we will see if anybody else would like to check into the Wales Ragchew Net. If you would, go ahead with your call sign, name and location, and an over. Okay, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra. Well, I left the bus gap there. I will put into the log, though, we have got listening on the side. We've got G0OE. I've just, yeah, I've just opened my log up over the app. G0OE, yeah, G0OES. So yeah, it froze me. So G0OES is on the side. He's actually in the peanut application on cqnorthwest. Yeah, I've not got a detail for him, but I have spoken to him in the week. I just yeah, forget the name for now. So over to you there. Back over to Michael at the top of the list. Whiskey Alpha 5 Romeo India Papa. I've marked G0OES as listening.
Well, thank you, Chris. This is Whiskey Alpha 5 Romeo India Papa here, and I am looking and enjoying the graphics. I like the way you've done things there. I've not been on the peanut application before. I've heard of it, and I've dabbled in that area. So I don't know a whole lot about that. You seem to be always on the cutting edge of technology with your nets and other applications. So my hat's off to you in that regard. You're doing very well. Rod, it's good to hear from you today. Hope everything's going well your way. We've had a lot of busy week here with tests and procedures for my wife, and we'll do it okay. She's had a rough couple of days, but that's to be expected. We'll see how things progress. But she has a dental examination on Monday, which is part of the transplant procedures, and we'll go with some of that information from there, and hopefully eventually we'll get her on that transplant list, and we'll start looking for a donor. And that's the update on her. Again, Rod, I hope your blood results are good this week, and hope everything's healing up and moving the right direction. Hope Stephen has a good, safe trip, and if we don't see you next weekend, next Saturday, maybe we'll look for some travel news the following Saturday. Well, I'll turn it back to you, Chris. Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra, thanks very much there. And yeah, I've actually managed to fit that graphic in now. So of course, yeah, if I put it there or not, it actually fits properly. So I can go back like that, and I can go like that. So yeah, it's just all good there. So yeah, but yeah, of course, I can't take the credit for it. I came across someone I hadn't spoken to for a while on W.D.R.G the other day, actually it was, and M3NOW, Steve. So of course, yeah, we had a little bit of a chat there, and of course, yeah, we came over to Peanut, and I was like, oh, can I put it on the PC? And it was like, oh yeah, of course I can. But I put the original version on. But this one is, well, we call it the Fernando version. Lima Whiskey 6 Echo Mike November, who has created it. It's in Spanish. So you load it in, you change the language. But of course I was still coming up as Mike Whiskey 7 Charlie Sierra. So of course, yeah, gave her a message. And of course, yeah, changed the call sign to Mike 7, and then yeah, also asked if I could test an app on iOS. It's not available yet, so yeah, that's what I'm actually using at the moment for the net. That's all I can say. I can't put any pictures of what the iOS app looks like or anything like that. I'm not allowed to share that. I've probably said a little bit too much by saying it's an iOS app that is not available on the store. So that's what I'm talking on now anyway. So I can see another station as well, who is actually in the Peanut application. Oh, and he's gone, and you can see it on the live stream as well, as soon as I went to mention it. So yeah, sometimes people are shy. And I wasn't quick enough to get the call sign on that, so we go round to G0EUZ, and I like this one because it pretty much puts a log out for us, so we know who's in the net, don't we? Oh, and who we've last heard.
G0EUZ returning to the group. Yeah, all good at this end, Marco. No great problems. I don't see the consultant again until I think it's the 24th normally, to the 24th, 25th of February. So I'll be going for a blood test the week before that. That'll give me some idea where it's going. But good to hear that Kathy's still doing well. And I was going to ask about whether you had I don't know line though, but obviously not yet. You've got to obviously got to go through all the tests first, haven't you? And then find a match. So I don't know what the situation is over in the States. Whether there's plenty of matches available or not, I don't know. I've never had much to do with it really. So no, that's all good. Yeah, okay, Steve, I'm going to London, yeah. That's right, it's not something I envy. I don't like going to London. I hate London. I didn't mind when I was younger going in and doing a bit of sightseeing and, you know, all the Carnaby Street and all that rubbish, but no. Ever since then, you don't take your phone out of your pocket in case it gets stolen. Pickpockets and all that stuff, no. And of course the congestion charge or the clean air charge or whatever they call it in there. Daylight robbery it is. Okay, all the weather over in Lebanon, it sounds very nice. I think we've been about 7 or 8 degrees today, so that's warmed up quite a bit. I still needed a big coat and my new battery-operated gloves this morning, but yeah, it's fine. And it's been a darkish day, but yeah, it's been all right. So back to you then, Chris. M7CCS G0 EUZ.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra returning. Yeah, the station didn't return. But yeah, I need to be a little bit quicker, don't I? So if we go round to Steve at GW5 of D.R.G, I also identifying us, but yeah, this version's pretty cool, really. It looks up the QRZ picture. Yeah, I'm fitting it into the live stream. It seems to work. Yeah, remodel the live stream while doing the Ragchew Net. That's a first, isn't it? But it's not a first because I used to do it at the very beginning until I was kind of happy with things. So next I've got to get the network map so people can see and yeah, put it on that blue curtain there so it'll look okay. So we go round now to GW5 of D.R.G.
GW5 D.R.G returning. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, just bring up Blackpool again. You can see I'm excited about it. I've mentioned it on every over. It's a little bit different this week to last week, isn't it? We only spoke twice, and we're already on the 3rd round this week, and we've hardly got going. Anyway, Blackpool, I just explained for Michael's benefit. You've got hamcation going over in the US at the moment, which I believe is in Florida, in one of their resorts there, and lots of sunshine and good times for the people there. Well, Blackpool's a little bit the same. It's a seaside resort. You know, it's a long strip along the coast of about 5 miles of all the pubs and bars and stuff like that. So it's kind of like Las Vegas for the lower classes in Britain, really. It's a little bit down at heel and lots of places are run down. At one time, there used to be more hotel beds in Blackpool than there were in the whole of Portugal. But I don't know whether that's the case now. Probably not, because so many of them have just boarded up and closed down. Anyway, so yeah, it's our version of hamcation, maybe. It only lasts for 1 day, though, and I'm looking forward to it, as you can tell. Yeah, going to London, I'm so used to it. Both of my sons work there now, live there, sorry, and work there. I'm so used to it now. It's quite easy, and we're staying in a hotel which we stayed in many times, so I know exactly how to get to it and where I've got to park and all that sort of thing. So I've many times I've driven right through the centre of London, past King's Cross and Euston, out to the east where my son used to live, out in the east of London. So I've been doing that now for about 10 years, so I know London quite well. It's still a bit of a pain in the neck when you get caught in the traffic, which might happen next Friday, because we go along the North Circular Road, and we seem to travel perfectly until we're about a mile away from the hotel, and then we get held up for about half an hour for no explanation why that is. So anyway, there we are. So back to you then, Chris M7CCS from GW5VOG.
I am transmitting there. Yeah, we definitely got the timeout there, and of course, yeah, timeout has changed from last week. People were probably waiting to see that, but yeah, had to be Steve. Steve got it. What we're going to do now, we're going to see if anybody else would like to come into the net. So if you would, go ahead with your call sign, name and location, and an over. Okay, nothing heard. So, right, we go back to the top of the list, and of course, yeah, there has been an actual Wales rugby game on, I believe, today. Yeah, people might be commiserating that. But there was also an England, I don't know if there was an England, no, I don't think there was an England game, there would have been more hype about it. But yeah, I've not really been catching up with sporting news, because that's not really my thing. Yeah. So Blackpool, you'll see in there the little slideshow that's going on at the moment. You've actually got City, well, it's just disappeared, but me and City holding a cup. So we received that cup for being the best exhibit club at the event. And then, of course, it goes on to show you bits after that are actually at Blackpool as well. But of course, yeah, Blackpool it is a little bit of a holiday town. It's got the Blackpool Tower, which is its iconic bit. They still run trams, so there's that. Of course, yeah, I do the Ragchew Net from the lifeboat station when we're there as well. We've got another event which will be probably announced nearer the time. That will be going on while we're at Blackpool as well. So yeah, we're built up as well, Steve, and of course, yeah, looking forward to it, starting to look forward to it. Of course, having to say enough to go as well, but yeah, looking forward to it. It's nice to go this year without any, well, there is a little bit of stress on my head, but not too much stress on my head. Also, I've noticed via Echolink, Neil is listening, Mike Whiskey 6 Foxtrot Golf November, so I will mark him as listening. So we go back to the top of the list to Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Thanks, Chris. Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa here. I sometimes feel like that I'm one of the three members of that are in that pub all the time, sitting at their normal table or sitting at the bar in our normal chairs. We're always three musketeers right there in a row, Rod, Steve, and myself. So we pretty much counted on we're going to be there with our beer in front of us, tipping our pints. Anyway, when Stephen was talking about going through the tunnel on vacation, reminded me, both the women I have been married to and are married to were scared to death of tunnels. I never really understood that, because we're going into a tunnel. There's no place else for us to go. But there was something about going into that tunnel and thinking that I don't know if the roof was going to cave in or it was going to flood or whatever. But it never really bothered me, but it seemed to always bother them. I don't know if it's a fear of the unknown or what, but tunnels seem to disrupt a lot of people for some reason or another, along with high bridges. But that kind of makes me chuckle a little bit, because that's when the first reaction is, oh my gosh, what do we do? Anyway, Rod, yeah, the medical results so far, we've eliminated living donors for one reason or another for everybody that we've known, and so that's kind of gotten us a step back there, and we're going to go from there. It's one of those things where we're hoping to still make the list, but not going to do it with a living donor. Just an update there real quick, and I'll turn it back to you, Chris. Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra, right, I'm leaving the live stream like that. I've had a bit of a play with it, I've changed it, it's different. Yeah, it's all good, and it was done whilst we're doing a Ragchew. So yeah, I like the fact that the log was there, that where people have spoken, although it shows me about 3 times in a row. Yeah, I like the way how it actually shows that the people that are talking. After they've spoken there, and it kind of automatically logs it for you there, so I don't have to keep going back to the log, but of course for the listeners you do. But it is also it's nice to incorporate something else in to the live stream, and of course yeah, we've got something else, so we've incorporated it in. I'm doing the Ragchew Net on my iPhone, so yeah, that could be something good for Blackpool. If I've got this possibility and I sound good as you guys are saying, yeah, I could do the net from the iPhone. It would. I've got to take a radio for something else, and of course, yeah, there's exhibits and stuff that are shown. But yeah, it would be interesting, wouldn't it, to run a net from just using this app, and then of course, yeah, use something to live stream that myself. Using the app, but yeah, see how many comments I get. Not real radio. Hi. So I can actually see on the list that Michael was last to speak, so it helps me out a little bit. So we go round to Rod G0 EUZ. Are you attending Blackpool this year?
G0 EUZ returning. No, Chris, definitely not. That's yeah, that's an effort. I used to live in Blackpool. I don't know if everybody knows that. I might have mentioned it before. I used to live in Blackpool for a few years, and I actually I was working in Blackpool when I actually joined the police and moved away. So there we go. I quite liked Blackpool then. It was nice, you know. I was working on a night shift at a biscuit factory, and I used to go down on the beach during the day, have a quick sleep, then go down on the beach and finish my sleep. And if I didn't sleep, I would probably have a pint and then come back and sleep. So yeah, it was good, very good. Yeah, I didn't know you could do a live donor anyway, Michael, for liver. I know they do it for kidneys, but I suppose the liver will reproduce itself, won't it? So if you've got a healthy liver, it'll regrow. It's just finding that match, isn't it? I think at some point I might need a match for possibly a stem cell for my blood thing, but that's a long way down the line, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, tunnels, yeah, they don't bother me, they don't bother my wife. She doesn't like lifts. She can't stand lifts. And, you know, she'll use the stairs if she can. If she can't, she will go in the lift, but she's absolutely petrified all the time. It doesn't bother me. I remember going down a coal mine in their lifts. Well, they are fast. You know, they drop, you know, like 1,000 feet in a couple of seconds. So that was good fun. When you feel like your feet have actually lifted off the ground as you're going down, that's pretty good. So what else was there? I don't think there was anything else. Back to you, Chris. M7CCS, D0, EUZ.
Mike 7 Charlie Sierra, all okay then, Rob, and all good. So yeah, well, we know Steve's booked, so yeah, maybe Steve might want to do some operating on Saturday, but yeah, it's a secret at the minute. But yeah, if you want to go, so I'll go round to Steve G. Where am I going to? Yeah, it's Steve GW5BOG. Yeah, that's the problem when you're not holding a radio. Yeah, you get confused. Right, back over to you there, GW5BOG.
GW5BOG returning. Thank you, Chris. I just looked at what peanut is in Spanish. Mani, M-A-N-I, or mani. I don't know. That's peanut. Yeah, I think you said it's called Fernando. Did you? I thought that was a pop song, isn't it? By ABBA. No, maybe not. Yeah, peanut. I've never actually managed to get onto peanut. I don't know why. I've tried a couple of times, and I'm not that sort of desperate to get on it. So, but for some reason, so I've got Echolink on my phone and on a couple of computers. I've got Zello on my phone, which I have spoken on network radio, I think 00 or 01, something like that. I know some people who go on that occasionally, as many years ago, mind. And but I tried peanut and it just wouldn't work for some reason. So there we are. Perhaps I should try again. But I don't, you know, I'm not mad keen on using my phone as a radio. I've got a few things on my phone, but I always feel like I start to feel a bit uneasy if I use the phone. Like I'm thinking, I've spent all this money on radios, and now I'm just using my phone. What am I doing? So you know, it's that kind of feeling. So I'm not so much keen on the phone. Rod, you said that you worked in a biscuit factory in Blackpool. And actually, when I was at college, when I was a youngster, I worked at McVitie's biscuit factory in halfway between Manchester and Stockport in the holidays, one summer holiday, on the night shift, doing 55 hours a week, 2 half-hour breaks, and a couple of toilet breaks, short toilet breaks as well. So that was very hard work on the end of a conveyor belt, putting packets of biscuits into cardboard boxes. Anyway, it was very good. I was so exhausted, I never went anywhere. So all my money I earned, which was quite good money at the time, went into my bank. And so when I finished, I had quite a bit of money there. And also, you mentioned about going down a coal mine. Let us know what you were doing down there. I'm sure you weren't at miner. Was it some kind of electrical contracting? The tunnel I was talking about is on the for Michael's benefit. It's on the road from London to Wales. It's in just when you get inside Wales, there's this sort of bottleneck tunnel which causes tremendous pile-ups on the motorway, so the freeway you would call it. So that's what the tunnel I was referring to was. And with that, I'm getting the second time out. I'll hand back to Chris M7CCS from GW5BOG.
Mike 7 Charlie Sierra. No, you're all right. You have 2 minutes and 24 seconds left on the second over. But yeah, it's all good. You did get the timeout. You got 2 timeouts now. So yeah, you are coming to Blackpool, aren't you? So yeah, that's all good. So yeah, all good there. So yeah, I was on about some operating, but yeah, might do some operating whilst we're there. And of course, we got the Ragchew. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call in and I'm going to see if anybody else would like to join the Wales Ragchew Net. If you would, Well, what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to call straight to a station who is actually sat there in Peanut, so hopefully he doesn't run away. And his name is Mark M7DU. Okay, right, that's all right. Mark is just listening. Of course, yeah, of course, you know, if people don't want to come in, they don't want to come in, but they do get in the log if they're listening there. And of course, yeah, we live stream live on YouTube as well, under my call sign. So what we're doing now is we will go to log mode, and we will see if anybody else would like to check into the Wales Ragchew Net. If you would, go ahead with your call sign, name and location, and an over. Okay, gap left there. So we will go round to Michael, Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa. I've not managed to look at that food form yet because, yeah, I'm using the phone, but I can look on the computer. So, yeah, I'll try and see if I can get into my account on the computer, and, yeah, we'll see, we'll basically see your food there. So, back over to you there, Michael.
Well, thanks, Chris. It's Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa, and you must have been reading my mind because I was going to go down through the food porn, at least with the game night last Saturday night. We had a family game night, and we ate so much food and ended up talking so much we didn't actually get to the games. But we had something that started probably back in the 60s or 70s. Here we had fondue. My wife made a blend of cheese and melted it down, and we dipped meats and pretzels, different things like that in the cheese, and ate it off the little forks. We also had strawberries and bananas and different kinds of fruits and marshmallows and things like that. We dipped in chocolate, melted chocolate. All of it was fantastic. And we had some miniature sandwiches along with that. That was really great. And that was our game night celebration. We had a little bit of steak left over. My son cooked 2 steaks, and we diced those up. And you use those in the cheese also. And my wife put those in an omelet this morning for me. It was delicious. So that was the food porn for this week. And Chris, I'm going to have to step away from the microphone for about 5 minutes, I hope. Maybe 10 minutes at the very most. But I'll be right back. So if I'm not on the next round, I'll probably be the next round after that. Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
No, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra, not a problem there, Michael. And yeah, here's your food porn. It's coming up on the screen now. I've got it there, and yeah, forwarded it onto the Ragchew account, as it's called, so that I can view it there. And present it. So that's Michael's food presented. That's Facebook. That's everything that's the things that are going on my screen. I'll put the blue curtain up, and we go back to the next. And right, so we go round to 20 EZ, round to you there, Rob.
Gee, EZ, the group. Yeah, it's good. It looks good. I have to admit. I've got the live stream up here, so it's looking good. Yeah, Steve, it was Burton's Biscuits I worked on, and I was actually on in the warehouse loading out the lorries for the following day. So we used to make up the load as a team, we were we're all split into teams. You make up your load, take it up in the loading bay, and then load the lorry. And then we had some good fun, actually. It was hard work, because it was heavy work, but yeah, it was good fun. And the big fun was to see if you could get more coming up the conveyor belts into the lorry than the guy in the lorry could handle. Because he'd drop it all then, or start messing about. But we never did that with Marks and Spencer's, because if there was any damage, they sent it all back. So we were very careful with our loads. And as regards to mine, yeah, no, it was just a trip from work. We went out and they took us down, and I was absolutely amazed. You know, I expected to get to the end of a tunnel, and finally the guys picking away with a pig, you know. Well, in actual fact, I think this coal face was about 150 yards long, and there was a machine went up and down. Took the bottom off, and then came back and took the top out. And then all the props automatically lowered themselves from the roof, moved forward a metre, and then repositioned the whole roof. So, I mean, that was quite scary. You know, when it moved, I thought the roof was coming down, because it did, you know. The metre that it was held up when the props moved forward, it all fell down. So, yeah, it was quite scary, but enjoyable. I did enjoy it. What else was there? Can't remember now. It's shocking, yeah. You forget so easy, don't you? Yeah, your audio, Chris, isn't as good as it was to begin with. It sounds a bit on the hollow side. So I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. M7CCS G0, he used it.
Yeah, Mark 7 Charlie Sierra, and yeah, I didn't know there was a picture for the gateway call sign there for MB6IPG, but yeah, it did just show up on the live stream. I'm now using an FT70 into the gateway rod, so the audio should be good. Starting to prepare, to prepare to go towards the door. Yeah, we get the weather report, but of course, yeah, the WX report at the minute off the doorbell camera, yeah, it's raining, so that's all I can tell. There's droplets coming down, yeah, it's about 3.2 degrees outside, the weather station says, so all good, and yeah, I'm not sure why it went holy or whatever, but yeah, it all depends what you do. So yeah, I did open Messenger and then shut it, and then reopen the app, so that I could forward on Michael's food porn. So yeah, that could have been what changed the audio. So yeah, that's all good, and it's good to know. So we'll go round to EW5 VOG and see if we can hit the timeout again.
GW5 VOG returning. Well, you did say you wanted to test it again this week, I think. I seem to recall. So they were only doing what you requested, that's all. I'll try not to go for the Triple Crown. Right, I've moved location now. I'm in my shack, and I'm just going to do a little bit of FT8 while I speak to you. I've just turned it on now. And yes, Rod, as I said, I worked in McVitie's making digestive biscuits, or packing them anyway. And as they are now, they were very, very popular. I think they were McVitie's best-selling biscuits at the time. And the machine that I worked on used to run 24 hours, 7 days a week, non-stop. With the consequence that it did occasionally stop because it used to catch fire. And then we had a massive problem with millions of biscuits pouring out of the ovens, and then they go up on conveyor belts to cool them down, which takes about 4 or 5 minutes as they go up through the ceiling and then come back and then get packed in their packs. And of course, if the packing machine's broken, they just pour out to the end of the machine and don't go anywhere. So we used to try and save them and pull them out and put them on trays so we could use them again later. But quite often we weren't successful. We used to have pig swill bins, so the pigs had a lot of broken biscuits, and that we, because that's actually banned now, pig swill. You're not allowed to give pigs waste food anymore since the foot and mouth outbreak. So that they know, because they thought pig swill had other bits of other animals in it, and there was cross-species contamination. Anyway, so there we are. That's what we used to do there. A couple of machines away from me was the Jaffa cake machine. I used to love that because the actual bottom piece of the Jaffa cake comes out of the works first, and that's like cake. And when it's just come out of the oven, it's beautiful. I used to stand there, stick my hand on the conveyor belt, and just scoop up a pile, and then eat them all. That was lovely. So yeah, the coal mine as well, you mentioned. We've got one here in South Wales. It's called Big Pit, that's been preserved. So I don't think you go very far underground, so we won't be doing any fast dropping in the lift. But there we are. Anyway, I better pass back to you, Chris. M7CCS and GW5 VOG.
Like 7 Charlie Sierra. Well, yeah, you did it that time again there, Steve. Yeah, it's all good. What we're going to do now is, well, we're going to see if anybody else would like to join us. If you would, go ahead with your call sign, name and location.
G5HVH, location Sheffield, South Yorkshire.
G5HVH, hello there, Colin, and yeah, nice to hear you there. So yeah, we'll let you have an over there. We'll find out if you're attending Blackpool there as well. It is far off, anything could happen in between, couldn't it? Yeah, round to you, G5 HVH, round to you.
7CCS, G5HVH, yeah, name's Colin, location is Stocksbridge, just northwest of the city of Sheffield there. I don't think we've actually made a cast iron decision about whether we'll be going to Blackpool or not. Depends whether we can get somebody to look after the dog there, because my youngest daughter has today just collected a dog of her own, so she was the person who we could send the dog to, who would look after her for the weekend whilst we have a weekend away. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but we may still come anyway there, Chris, so that's it for there. Yeah, had a good day on the radio today, despite the dark, damp, still miserable cold weather, and I gave my radio a little holiday there and went off into a different room on the YSX network and had some nice contacts with people down in the south of the country. So they were pleased to hear me, and I was certainly pleased to be able to talk to them there. So all's good here. I've just switched the radio on and rotated the dial around to find your room on the WiresX network, because as usual I've forgotten that it's Saturday night and the Wales Ragchew Net's on. 5 years and 1 week. Well done, Chris. It was a very enjoyable net last week. Pass it back to you then. Thanks for inviting me in. M7CCS from G5HVX. G5HVH. That's it. On the YSX network.
Yeah, Mark 7, Charlie Sierra. Well, yep, you're in the log, so I've put you in the log there. And it was via WiresX, so yep, I always put that little bit of information in, how people are getting in. Yeah, it's all good. We've got Neil is still on the side listening. Yep, I know that his hotspots were under life supports on the surgical table at Darrell's MW0 GTS this week. I'm not sure whether he's got them back yet. But yeah, you can listen via Echolink, you can come in via Echolink. Yeah, it's all good there. So we'll see if anybody else would like to call in. If not, we'll go back to the top of the list. So if you'd like to call in to the check into the Wales Ragchew Net, go ahead with your call sign, name and location, and an over. If not, we go straight to the top of the list, and Michael, Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa, you can pick it up. Okay, I just remembered that Michael was going to step away. Darrell, the listener, is now in Echolink and jump back out. Yeah, he's just testing that the Echolink's working, I expect, or that he can hear it through there. But yeah, I can see, no matter how many milliseconds you're in there, my network radio lags a little bit. It's all good. We'll go round to Rod, and we'll try and call for Michael on the next round, because he did say he was stepping away. G0, EUZ.
G0, EUZ, back to the group. Yeah, yeah, your audio's lovely on the FT70, without a doubt, the best. So there we go. Yeah, on the biscuit line, yeah, that would have suited me, Steve. We used to bring certain lines in that we didn't make, but we delivered them with our deliveries. We used to deliver to, I think Tesco's was one where they were small and fine fare and stuff like that, you know, and my favourite was licorice all sorts. They were made by Barrett's, but yeah, they used to come in giant boxes to us. And if I did one, you just drop one and it broke open, and then you could eat as much as you wanted, you know. There was a few other lines that were made, but to be honest, the pay was actually quite poor where we were, because of our age. Because we were well, at the time I was under 18, I think. And yeah, it was very poor pay. And then they did something with a pay system, and I actually jumped up to another 21 pay, and it was much better. I never said anything. But unfortunately, the young lad that worked with us, he'd been on the higher rate. When everything changed, he got dropped down to what it should have been, you know, so he didn't say anything either. But it was good fun, and then obviously I went, when I was 19, I went to the police then. So that's all I was waiting for. And joined up and moved to Bolton. So yeah, that was good. what else was there? I can't remember. Oh, Colin, yes, good evening, Colin. Nice to hear you on. And I don't think there was much else really that we covered. Probably Michael will be around next time. Oh, radio-wise, yeah, I was trying to do FTA. The whole idea today was to work the ICOM IC7100 remotely from the laptop in the house. And as per usual, it wouldn't work. It kept dropping the connection. And, you know, I ended up out in the shack working it. Yeah, really annoying. It's the same every time. And oops, I timed out myself. Take a bit. Easy, the pips are getting short. I can understand how you get caught out. So, yeah, I mean, every time, without fail, when I want to use it, it won't work. And generally, I get it to work before the end of the day, but by then I'm fed up and I don't bother anymore until the next time. And it doesn't work again, so I'm going to have to find a better solution. I'm looking at SDR that might be better because you connect it to the internet directly, and then working from any laptop or PC anyway. So maybe that's the next plan. Anyway, back to you, Chris M7CCS G0EUZ.
Yeah, like 7 Charlie Sierra. Well, when I remote into my system, I use it's called Google Chrome Remote. It's called. You can download it as a desktop application as well. But basically, through the powers of signing into Google, you can remote into your other system and run it that way. On the same network should be not a problem. I've done it where I've remoted into the system when we've been on tour and run a live stream. So of course, yeah, it does work. But also, yeah, you can do remote FT8 and things like that as well through it. So yeah, Chrome Remote would be the best answer for it. But the thing I've noticed on the DMR, absolutely fine. On the WiresX, it's slightly droppy on your rovers, but everything is getting through. So yeah, it's that's the thing I've got with my FT70. I can slightly hear myself coming back. I'm on top of the air fryer as well as actually being on the radio. So I'm on the air fryer in the kitchen where Donna is making meatballs. So of course that will be a nice meal for after the Ragchew Net. So we'll go round now to GW5VOG. Don't time out, I'm not there. As you might have noticed when Rod timed out, I couldn't press it. Over to you there, GW5VOG.
GW5VOG returning. Alright, I can't think of anything to say. Cheerio. No, yeah, I suppose I better. We are going around rather quickly. Come back, Michael. Back to biscuit factories, Rod. Weirdly, we used to have every now and again an inspection from Marks and Spencer's because we made a lot of biscuits for them, and they were supposed to arrive in the day, so it was the day shift they were inspecting, and we weren't supposed to know they were coming, but they must have had a mole in Marks and Spencer's, and they always found out. So the day before the Marks and Spencer inspector was coming, we just shut down production on the night shift, and everyone spent the whole night polishing everything, cleaning up and making sure everything was neat and tidy. And then of course they came in the morning and they didn't realise, they thought it was always like that. And yeah, there was no pig swill bins around then, I can assure you. So Yeah, Marks and Spencer's, I think they still do, but back then they had very, very, very high standards, and everybody wanted to make food for them. So there we are. I mean, Marks and Spencer's food is still amazing. I don't go there that often, but we used to swear by it. Since we've been vegetarian, we have to sort of shop around a bit more. Yeah, Marks and Spencer's. One thing I've been meaning to say, Chris, there was rugby on today, coinciding with it, and it was England versus France playing at Twickenham. I don't know what the result was the last time I saw it. It was 7-all. Yeah, Wales played earlier in the day and got beaten again by Italy, which is disgusting. And it's our 15th straight successive defeat, which is like unheard of. So with that, I'll avoid the timeout by passing it back to you, and now back to you, Chris.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra. Anybody would think that we were promoting Marks and Spencer's there? The amount of times you said it there, Steve. But of course, yeah, Marks and Spencer's Biscuit Factory then. Yeah, I was thinking as you said it should have been like that all the time. Hi. But of course, yeah, speed of production and stuff. Yeah, if it was surgical all the time, you'd never get anything done. Yeah, we're going to go around to someone now if he didn't want to die alone, so he became a bus driver. Hi. G5HVH, round to you.
M7 Charlie Sierra. Well, I'm glad I joined in then, Chris. I didn't realise you were short of members for your net. Not unlike last Saturday then, there, yes. Oh yeah, one or two stories about on the buses there, and quality control. Yes, I was involved with quality control in the 1980s, late 1980s, when I worked for National Express, and they were very interested in quality, and the vast majority, over 90% of the operation, was done by franchised-in operators. So they had to send their drivers and hostesses or stewards, as we used at that time on the express non-stop rapid services. They had to come and be trained by National Express staff. And when the training officer was on holiday, yes, yeah, guess who got lumbered with that job? Yes. You're doing some training next week, Colin. Oh, thank you. Yeah, one of my least favourite jobs there, but it has put me, I suppose, in a good stead for talking on amateur radio, because you've got to talk to a room drivers and hostesses yourself. But it came back into memory with the mention of that shop, you know, that had the brand St. Michael that you were talking about. And we always used to use that. It was actually in the training manual that you compared the service that we wanted on National Express coaches, particularly from the hostess, to be of the quality of that company there, you know, Marks and, yeah, Spencer's, yeah, well, we'll say it, won't we? There's lots of other shops out there. But sadly, it does appear to have gone downhill in other departments. But I think the food side of it is still highly recommended, and I believe, my understanding is that it's still quite profitable, because people are quite prepared to pay a premium price, because of course they expect to get a premium product there. So there we are with that. I had something on my mind there, and I've forgotten what it was now, about buses and coaches, but I'm sure it'll come back to me on the next round there, Chris, so thanks for that. And yeah, good evening to Rod, and I think it's good evening to Stephen, who's in some exotic place in South Wales there, by the sounds of it, so lucky you there. I bet the air quality is certainly better than it is in some of the city centres around here, despite the local mayors putting it. Oh, here comes the timer. No, I'm going to take a read. G5HVH. I hope that's not classed as a timeout, because it did say 9 seconds on my timer there, Chris. Yeah, the councils, aren't they? It's very interesting, this, because Sheffield Council decided in their wisdom that by lowering the speed limit on the M1 motorway as it passed along the outskirts of Sheffield, it would improve the air quality. So everyone for a couple of years was restricted. Whilst you were in charge of your vehicle. M7 Charlie Sierra from G5HVH.
Yeah, Mike 7 Charlie Sierra. I'm trying to work out if the Echolink was still into the X there. But of course, yeah, CQ Northwest, you certainly timed that side out. And of course, yeah, that must have been all that. Yeah, it must have been that. Yeah, so what we do now is we'll see if Michael's back, and we go back to Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Well, thanks, Chris. This is Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa, and yes, I am back. I could have probably made the last go-around, but it was right towards the end, so I did hear the next one when you called off. I think it was Steven. But, tomorrow I will go ahead and finish my food porn, as a matter of fact. Tomorrow we're having Super Bowl food, which is snack food usually. My wife is making what we call pigs in a blanket. That's sausage rolled up in biscuit dough and heated up. She's going to be making one of those. We're also going to have sub sandwiches and crisp with dip. We'll just be regular salted crisp, and then we'll have a couple of different versions of dip to dip them in. And I don't know what we'll have for sweets or anything like that. But of course, we always have, some version of cookies or something laying around. But that'll be our food for that, and that's our second food porn side of it. I hear that it's kind of rainy and drizzly and cool weather over there. Growing up, that's what I always thought London was about. When I was over with little young men, they would always talk about foggy day in London town. Everybody wore raincoats on TV when I was a kid. But every time I've been to London or in that area, it's been summertime and it's always been wonderful weather. Never saw any rain the whole time I was over in the UK. So it was kind of a different change for me when I was over there. Totally, destroyed the vision I had in my head. And with that, Chris, I'll turn it back to you. Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Yeah, Mike 7 Charlie Sierra, and the Echolink is logged out, so I better connect that back in. Yeah, that must have today. Like I said, it's a little bit laggy, that Android. Yeah, it wasn't you who did it, Michael. It's all good. But of course, yeah, smaller numbers this week. But of course, yeah, it's back to a Ragchew again, isn't it? And of course, yeah, we get to pass it round, keep the topics The one thing of last week, although I like that everyone checked in, a lot of people didn't really stick around, did they? Yeah, it's all good. So we're going to go round to G0, EUZ, Rod, and Cambridge.
G0, EUZ, back to the group. Yeah, Michael, London has a microclimate all of its own because of all the high-rise buildings and tight streets and what have you. It's totally different to anywhere else in the country. I think it's a lot warmer as well. It stays warmer. So there we go. Yeah, Colin, unfortunately, you dropped out just as we got to the all vehicles on the M1 passing Sheffield with a restricted time. And then that's it, you dropped out and we didn't hear anymore. And we were all on edge waiting for the rest of this story. So, yeah, it's a shame, huh? What else was there? I've got on another time at this now. I'm running out of stuff to say. So, yeah, Michael, your food sounds lovely. And I said, yeah, enjoy the Super Bowl. Yeah, England actually won. England beat France by 1 point, 50-25 in the last 3 minutes. So I think they did well. It was actually quite a good game. It's worth watching. The Wales-Italy game was not a particularly good game to watch. But of course, Italy did really well. They're definitely on the up. You know, because everybody used to beat Italy. But here we go. So, right, back to you, Chris. M7CCS, G0, EUZ.
Yeah, Mark 7, Charlie Sierra. Well, some of that with my Echolink anyway. It keeps jumping in and out. But, yeah, it's, well, Neil's in there. He's still in there. Yeah, it just seems that every time I take my eye off it, yeah, it seems to jump out. Yeah, not a problem there. I only use it as a monitor. But of course, yeah, the last overs, yeah, they've come through with a loss on MB6IPG. Yeah, something's untoward with the system, and yeah, what we'll do is we will take and reset, and then go over to Steve, GW5VOG.
Steve Hotel Takeoff.
Okay, I think there was a station, came in via cqnorthwest. I interpreted it as N0 Hotel Mike Golf. We'll try for you there.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see if I'm coming through okay, got you.
Yep, you're coming through okay. I'm guessing that's from the accent I'm hearing there. I'm guessing that's an MM0. Yeah, MM0HMG. So MM0HMG. Let's see what I get. Nothing. But it's all good. I've got you in the log there. I'm going to carry on going round the list. And we'll be down to you soon. There's not too many of us on here, so I'll put it round to Steve, and then it'll be Colin, and then it'll be yourself. So, round to you there, Steve, GW5VOG.
GW5VOG returning. Yeah, so I don't know, that's totally threw me. I had a few things I was going to say, and I can't think of that. What was I going to say? Marks and Spencer's, something. Oh yes, the Super Bowl. Of course, the American football is the kind of very similar to rugby. I think rugby predates it, maybe. I don't know. It's the same thing. It's a football game where you can pick the ball up and throw it or run with it in your hand. I think there were a lot of earlier sort of precursor games. So whether American football was invented before rugby, which wasn't rugby did, as in the form it's in now, didn't appear till quite sort of late on in the 19th century. So I don't know whether American football developed independently from other European ball games. But anyway, they're very similar. And what I was going to say is my eldest son in London is an actor, and he mixes with all these arty people. Then they don't tend to be very interested in sport. But one thing they all do is watch the Super Bowl just for the half-time performance. I think this year is it Kendrick Lamar. But yeah, and they love it. I watched it once. I can't remember who it was. A few years ago, and I was a little bit disappointed by the half-time performance. I don't know, perhaps that's just me. But anyway, all the arty types who are not really interested in sport, they love watching the half-time performance. So they'll be staying up late at night to do that. And good luck to them. I won't be joining them, I'm afraid. I'll see the result in the morning. I don't. Is it?
Back to you there, Steve.
Yeah, I've told you before, especially when there's not many people on the net, I should get a prize for that. I should be applauded, because I'm keeping the net going for kind of longer, if you know what I mean. I know it lasts the same time anyway, but the more we talk, the easier it is for everyone else to think of something to say, isn't it? So there we are. I like timing out. If there was like 50 people waiting to join in, I would think it was disgraceful, and you'd be well within your rights to tell me off and maybe even expel me from the net. But as we only got a few people on, it doesn't matter, does it? You were talking about the difference between a large number of nets and Ragchews. I only watch it afterwards on YouTube very occasionally, and I don't watch the whole thing because it's so boring. There's a Raynet net, which I think is on DMR or something like that, on Sunday afternoon, and they get millions of check-ins. But most of the people come in, give the call sign and say, in and out, and then they disappear. So I don't quite see the point of that myself. There we are. Anyway, back to you once again, M7CCS from GW5 DOG.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra. Yeah, that. I used to get a lot of that when I first started the net. Used to get a lot of stations used to come in and out, and of course, yeah, it was just getting a lot. But yeah, then it was explained it wasn't a contest. Hi. But all good. So we go round to Colin now. Go for 5 Hotel Victor Hotel.
G5 HVH returning to the net. Thanks, Chris. Apologies for last time. I'm going to keep a close eye on the timer this time. Yeah, Stephen. Yeah, the clue is in the name of the net, isn't it? the Ragchew Net sort of implies that you're expected to have a Ragchew, so I think you're quite entitled to time out and come back in again. In the earlier days of this, when it used to be on the dangerous mobile radio on 2356, yeah, there was me and a guy called Monty, and it was sort of a competition every week as to who was going to time out first. So there we are. Apologies for the co-op that's going in the background. People used to do that deliberately on these nets. They used to speed up their overs so that when it was my turn, it was always on the hour. So the clocks would come through, because apparently they make a strange transcode into the C4 FM mode. It's not the same on analog, but there we are. Anyway, right, okay, back to the 60 mile an hour for cleaner air. Order from the council on the M1 motorway between junction 35A and 32. I think it was. All the way along that section, it was restricted to 60 miles an hour, and on the matrix signs it said to improve air quality. Well, guess what? After 2 years, our survey said, as it goes, you've actually made the air quality worse by slowing the traffic down. So that's now been scrapped. Everybody's a lot happier. Everybody can travel along at a maximum speed of 70 miles an hour. That was the topic there. And a mention of fog. I think I've just quickly got time. Yes, when I was a lot younger, in my childhood, we experienced lots of fog there, Michael. So you're quite right there. And I can remember in the evenings, traffic sort of slowing down to a crawl because it was that foggy. And it was the time in the 1960s when cars used to travel around those side lights. Everybody uses headlights nowadays, but back in the day, they used side lights, and of course people had to put their headlights on or their fog lamp on. Yeah, what was that all about? One lamp. How are you supposed to identify that? Just had one fog lamp on. Anyway, I am not going to time out. I'm going to pass it back to the CHESHIRE M7 Charlie Sierra from G5HVH.
Yeah, Merc 7 Charlie Sierra, and 12 seconds to go there. I think I went a little bit too quick at that time. But of course, yeah, it's all good there. And of course, yeah, that was the one thing last night actually, led in bed, trying to switch off, couldn't quite switch off. The older radio station, LBC, was available, listening there. And of course, yeah, in the news, they were on about, well, we know him as Alan Partridge, but Steve Coogan. Yeah, he's been evading speeding tickets and driving bans and things like that. So by writing a letter to the courts and whatever, and yeah, I've got to film a series of the trip, and all these people are going to lose their job and whatever. Well, Rob Brydon, who does it with him, he could drive, couldn't he? But yeah, or they'd have to stick him on a trailer and tow him and pretend he's driving. There's plenty of ways round it, but he's evaded. And yeah, general Joe Public, me, you, anybody on this net, if we said that, yeah, they'd say you having a laugh. So right, we're going to try and go to James M0 Hotel Mike Golf, and then we'll go and do the 7-3 round after that. So we go round to James M0 Hotel Mike Golf. Okay, so we'll go up to the top of the list and we'll do the last over and 7-3. So we go to the top of the list. We're going to have to see where my interaction is on my log, and we're going to have to go back up to the top of the list, well, near the top of the list, number 4. So Rain to you there, Michael, for your 7-3 last over, Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Well, thanks, Chris. It's Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa here, and it's been a good net. Sorry, we had smaller numbers, but there were better numbers. I have to say, I was good to see Colin in. Haven't heard from him. Well, he was there last week, but hasn't made a regular trip in, so it's good to hear his voice. And I love seeing the two-decker Charlie on his QRZ page. Stephen, yes, the football did even come from soccer and rugby. Back in the late 1800s is when we first started developing American football. I think the forward pass is what deviated us from those two sports into what we have now, and we just kind of took off from there. And we still have rugby and soccer over here in the States, and actually my oldest son played rugby for a time, and that was back when I was getting a little concerned because that was back before the helmets. We didn't put helmets on the kids, and I had a young man that I had to take out of the game because he hit another player too hard, and he staggered for about 10 to 15 minutes. I kept making him sit down, and every time I checked him, he would get up and go and stagger. So that's when I decided maybe we need some helmets on these kids. I want to protect that brain. But it's been a good net today, and enjoyed it. I'm going to say it's the quality of the people, not the quantity. So everybody take care. I'll see you next week and Saturday if God is willing and the creeks don't rise, as we say here. We'll talk to you then. 73 from Whiskey Alpha 5, Romeo India Papa.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra, yep, 7-3 to you there, Michael. And, of course, yeah, we will catch you next week. And, yeah, so we're going to go around to Rod now for his last over and 7-3.
Geez, what you said, returning to the group for the final. Yeah, I mean, I remember the good old days with Fox. Scary, really. I remember when I first joined the police, I went to Bolton. I didn't know my way around, but halfway through the shift, this fog came down, and they took the buses off the road. It was that bad, and then they took the taxis off the road. So I couldn't get back to where I was living because I didn't know how to walk it. You know, I knew what direction to walk. I was unfamiliar with the area, so I ended up I actually took a trip in because they were sorting it to a nearby town where I knew how to get to an Nancy's, and I went to stop there overnight, and then reversed it and came back following day when it had stopped. The fog had gone. But I remember bonfire night used to be the worst, didn't it? With all the fires in the big streets, and yeah, it used to be really bad. Okay then, so I'll say 7-3 to everybody, and I hope to catch you next week, and I'll have a good week if you can. And yeah, we'll speak to you again next week. And I shall try my best to get on Sutty's net on Wednesday. M7CCS G0 user.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra, yep, 7-3 to you there, Rod. And, yeah, may catch up with you on Wednesday there. So we go round to GW5 VOG. Rain to you for your 7-3 and last over.
GW5 VOG returning. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, fog. I can remember when I was young in Manchester, going out when it was foggy, and when I came back in, when you looked in the mirror, you had two black circles round your nostrils, which is quite horrible, actually. And yeah, it was really bad. But Manchester became the first city in Europe, I think, to ban the sale of coal. We only had smokeless fuel because it was so bad. Although London has got a reputation for being the old foggiest town in England, but I think that's partly because they're more likely to get fog there anyway. But when it comes to pollution, smog, I think Manchester was worse, actually. So there we are. Yeah, well, rich people getting off driving bans. There's one particular solicitor or barrister, or somebody who specialises in that, and he charges a fortune, but almost like guarantees that he'll find some loophole to get you off. So that's probably what Steve Coogan used, I should think. Anyway, 73 to everybody. Nice to hear from all the regulars. And I've forgotten your name. Is it Neil, I think, in South Yorkshire? That's quite interesting. Next time I speak to you, I'll tell you about the Welsh Government's air pollution speed limits on the M4, so which we still have in force, unfortunately. There we are then. So 73, thank you for running the net, Chris, and I'll do my best to be on next week, but I can't guarantee it. It depends whether I just am shattered when I get home, or if I get held up and I get home late. So back to you, Chris M7CCS from GW5 VOG 73.
Yeah, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra, yep, 7-3 there, Steve. Right, I'm going to try and give a call. I can see him there in the Echolink. Yeah, see if he can get the last over in a 7-3 in. Mike Whiskey 6, Foxtrot Golf November, Neil. Okay, Mike 7, Charlie Sierra. I think I know what the Echolink problem is. And of course, yeah, I put dropping out on the live stream, because unfortunately, Neil, I didn't get any of that. Because, yeah, Echolink failed us. Echolink has failed us. Andy has sent a message saying that he's not hearing anything from there either, to W.D.R.G, so we know that he's listening as well. We will go round to Colin G5 HVH for your 7-3 and last over.
Thanks, Chris M7 Charlie Sierra G5 HVH. Returning for a final on the 73 round. Yeah, the sound of silence there. That reminds me of the Remembrance Sunday, when there's just a silence in there for a couple of minutes as we remember people. Yes, there we go. Fog. I'll quickly go back to Stephen on that one. Yeah, very interesting that you experienced Manchester in the 60s by the sounds of it. Yeah, well, Manchester was one of the few bus companies that had fog on the destination screen in very large letters, and they used to come along with fog on the destination line, which would hopefully explain to the passengers why the bus is going to be late and why partway through the journey it might get terminated and tip everybody off. So there we are, that's one of those facts. What else have we got to say? Yeah, somebody was talking about an inspection and being tipped off. Well, I can remember working for this rather ropey bus company in the 1990s, and they knew the minister were coming. They got a tip off, so they hid all the dodgy buses away, and all the other buses had an extra trip through the bus wash, so everything was all nice and sparkly shiny, and the ministry men were very happy. They gave a clean bill of health, and just as they were going, the engineer's van came chugging into the yard. It had been to collect an engine from the scrapyard, so it was way overloaded, and they immediately impounded that. And we all the road staff that had gone to all that trouble thought it was absolutely hilarious at the time. It was always an entertaining job working in the bus industry. There was always a story, just like on that television program there. So with that, 7-3s everyone. Look forward to crossing paths with you again, Stephen, there in South Wales somewhere, in an exotic location in South Wales. And yeah, my name's Colin, Charlie Oscar Lima India November G5HVH, just northwest of the city of Sheffield. Last place you come to before you go over the wood into Manchester. Back to you, M7CCS from G5HVH. Thanks very much for inviting us into to your kitchen there, Chris, and placing us on top of your air fryer.
Mike 7, Charlie Sierra. It was Donna watching me on top of the air fryer in the kitchen. I'm here. So, yeah, for the live stream viewers. Of course, yep, there was nothing heard there on the last time for James via cqnorthwest, so we won't bother. Yeah, we're coming to the end, so I'm going to switch the screen, and I've pressed the wrong button, did that wrong earlier. So in the net tonight we had MW0 TTF listening, M7EMH was listening, Whiskey Alpha 5 Romeo India Papa Michael, G0 EUZ Rod, GW5 VOG Steve, of course, yeah, all those ladies watch the live stream back towards the end, yeah, you'll see all the shade sites for all the times you said Marks and Spencer's, that's all good. We had a G0 OUS was listening in Peanut, Mike Whiskey 6 Foxtrot Golf November Neil, we didn't get the over but we gave an honorary 7-3. M7DEU Mark was via Peanut, G5 Hotel Victor Hotel Colin via WiresX, M0HMG James via CQNorthwest, Andy 2W0 APD listening every mode imaginable the message looked like. All good. I've been Mike 7 at Charlie Sierra. I'll bid you a 7-3, and yeah, catch City for his next on Wednesday, and talking W.D.R.G in the week. 7-3 for now.
Two Whiskey 0, Alpha Papa Delta, check it, and don't crash cqnorthwest.
Through my India November, everyone listening on the side.